Welcome back. Global growth is projected at 3.4% in 2016 and 3.6% for 2017. But growth in emerging markets and developing economies is projected to increase from 4% in 2015, the lowest since the 2008-2009 financial crisis, to about 4.3% in 2016 and 4.7% for 2017. Now, as the IMF World Bank spring meetings begins in Washington, D.C., what are some of the challenges ministers of finance and central bank governors face to engineer growth? Dr. Ayo Teriba, an economist and chief executive of Economic Associates, joins me to talk about this. So good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Dr. Teriba.
Thank you very much.
So Nigeria is projecting a GDP growth of 2.3%, and according to World Bank, IMF estimates, we're looking at 4.3% for this year, at least for emerging markets like our own and other frontier markets as well. Talk to us about what you think the challenges will be for ministers of finance and central bank governors as they attend these meetings and listen to conversations there.
Right. The IMF has preceded this meeting with its biannual World Economic Outlook report. The figures that you are dropping are actually coming out of the World Economic Outlook report that had been released on Tuesday. The key highlight is that they have re-emphasized the gloom that is hanging over the global economy. They have re-emphasized the increasing financial pressure that developing countries have to face as money tends to leave the developing countries for the more developed countries. So the challenge is how to ensure that the growth declines being projected for a country like Nigeria. How do we deal with these? In its October World Economic Outlook, the IMF had projected 4.3% for 2016. Yes, the Bureau of Statistics reported 2.8% for 2015. And now the IMF expects that Nigeria will go down to 2.3%. The question of the projection, reality may not coincide with that. And I take a more optimistic view of Nigeria's growth prospects. We did 2.8% in 2015, largely because of the uncertainty surrounding political transition, uncertainty surrounding economic policies. I expect growth to lift considerably now that those uncertainties are not there.
But then we have uncertainties with regards oil prices, which is something that we can't control. We also have the forex shortage and issue with regards other macroeconomic indicators that have continued an uptrend.
Yeah, the IMF is making an issue of the forex situation, but I think that would be exaggerating the problem. I would expect Nigeria to do much better than last year, not worse than last year in terms of growth.
So in that regard, it is a challenge for the Ministry of Finance as well as the Central Bank of Nigeria. How should they be handling this challenge?
Well, it is a challenge for the Nigerian economy as a whole and anybody who has anything to do with the economy. The point is that forex situation, the government is beginning to address it with the deal that's been reached, with China. That takes some of the pressure off. It's not a lot, given that we've seen times when monthly demand for foreign exchange on the WDAS had been as high as $4 billion US. Okay, you've got 6 billion coming from somewhere. It's something, but we shouldn't exaggerate the role. Nigeria should do more like that. Look for, other bilateral, investment agreements that they can enter into to relieve, the shortage in the supply of forex. But it's not just governments that could bring in investment. I know that one of the major multinationals recently announced acquisition of a local manufacturer of $400 million. So you should be getting both government and companies to invest more in Nigeria at this time, since the investment opportunities are there. So you'll be achieving your growth objective. Increased investment leads to growth, and you'll be also easing the pressure on the foreign exchange market.
Dr. Teriba, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. We'll be taking a look at how much has been done in terms of fiscal discipline.
Okay.
Stay with us.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Dr. Teriba, Dr. Ayodele Teriba is still here with me in the studio. He's an economist and, of course, the Chief Executive of Economic Associates. Thank you so much, Dr. Teriba, for sticking around. Of course, closing moments now on the show. We know that Nigeria has entered into a deal with the Chinese, gotten a $6 billion loan. And a lot of issues and questions have come up with regards how will this be managed and in what ways. Do you think enough has been done in terms of fiscal discipline?
Right. The deal with China is a bilateral trade and investment package. It's not, you don't have too much leeway. It's something that China is giving to support its relations and the relations of Chinese interests, Chinese companies and Nigerian interests, Chinese government and Nigerian government. So it's going to fund, trade and investment flows between Nigeria and China. But
then do you think we have enough fiscal discipline to ensure that this loan that is being given to Nigeria is actually channeled into the right sectors of the economy?
Yeah, the budget for the year did set out to look for about 2.2 trillion deficits to cover, and the government had said that they would be trying to borrow both at home and abroad. So in part, this is one of the efforts the government is making to fund the deficits falling in place on the external part of it. I know that additional loans are being sought locally as well. So it's still in keeping with the plans. We couldn't say that there's anything that is being played out of script.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Teriba, for your perspectives this morning.